Okay guys, here's how you remove the power steering rack without taking the subframe out on an EG, Civic Del Sol, or DC Integra. So first I removed the two hangers in the midsection for the exhaust, and then I took out the two bolts at the flange that sits right here, letting the whole thing sit on the floor. Then I took all the hydraulic attachments out of the power steering rack, which are up around the power steering rack. Another thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to take out these two bolts that hold the header on, or I guess right after the header, and then these three bolts right there. So then you can remove this section right here. Once you have that removed, you're going to need some way to get the axle to have a little pliability. So in my case, I pulled this this bolt, and then the three bolts up here that hold this other part of the swing arm, and the control arm, which would be those two bolts and this bolt, the in-link, tie rod in-link, and the tie rod in-link over here. But there are other ways to do it. You could pull a ball joint. I don't have a ball joint separator. I was too lazy to go in and get one. Or you can pull a number of other things. Keep in mind that some of these are going to require an alignment, but I'm getting an alignment anyway because of the power steering rack. So I chose to pull these, and then what your goal is to, you need the steering rack up to where, well, I skipped a step. You're going to need to remove the pinch bolt on the steering column inside the car. And once you've pulled this, there's two bolts that sit right here, and there's two bolts right there that for the bracket that mount this to it. Once you've got those removed, then you can pull the steering rack loose, pull off the boot that goes around here. There's a boot that goes interfaces between that and the firewall. And then once you've pulled that out, your goal is to get it in this position where this is hanging down loose. And how you do that is, I'm going to reverse order this. You want this to be up in that kind of crevice right there. And then with that pliability I mentioned earlier in the axle, it goes right in through here. And so I have some pliability here. I can kind of move it out of the way and sneak it by there. It's tight. It's still tight. Even when you have pliability, it's still tight. But then you can rotate this down like this and out to the passenger side, bring this around here, slide this back towards the driver's side, and you're free. And the installation is going to be the reverse of that. Well, I'm almost free. I've got it hung up on here. I only have one hand. So that's how you take that out without removing your subframe. Now I'm doing a manual rack swap, and another video I've watched mentioned that a 1990 Honda Accord sway bar bracket will fill in that gap and make that smaller. Time will tell. We'll see if that works for me. But that is the gist of how you remove this without taking your subframe out.